Yeah, my first year at Binion's, I had the pleasure of playing in an event, and in my second event ever, I played with Doyle Brunson. He was my first table.
Wow.
And it was just, yeah, that was my just mouth dropped in awe. Couldn't believe I got to play with Doyle Brunson. And that's what's great about poker. The fact that you can come to Las Vegas and play with your heroes. Seiver raising from the small blind with 4-3. Sergio Aido picking up 2 black aces.
Call. Heads up.
Aido slow playing by just calling.
And this is getting interesting now. Pair 4s for Seiver. He likely thinks he has the best hand. Little does he know that Aido is a 4-1 favorite. Which seems like a lot to me, considering Seiver's got like backdoor straight possibilities. Seiver's going to bet 250,000.
Yeah, pretty small continuation bet here.
Call.
Sergio makes the call.
This is interesting.
Now, Aido, because he just flat, is he going to have a lot of aces in his range?
No, he really shouldn't. And, you know, Seiver also turns more equity. Of course, though, Aido could have the 7Xs that does have Seiver beat at the moment, but I'm sure Seiver is going to continue to put pressure on Aido's hand and his stack.
1.6 million in the pot. Aido with top set. Seiver still has a chance, though.
Check.
He is going to check. He can actually win this with a 5. Spaniard taking some time on this one.
Obviously, it feels like Aido's range should be capped here, and Seiver recognizes that. Aido, of course, going for some value here with a bet of 450K.
What are you holding in your hand? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Seiver wants to know exactly what he's up against in terms of how many chips Aido has. You can see in the bottom left corner of your screen, just under the players' faces, that's how many chips they have left behind after they've already put some in the pot. Can you imagine a scenario where Seiver ever folds here?
I don't think against this sizing, especially with that additional equity to a wheel.
Heads up.
Seiver does make the call. Oh,
my
wow.
gosh.
And by the way, everybody at home who's new to poker is sitting there going, this is why you don't slow play aces. This is why you don't do it. Okay?
Guys, let's not be results oriented.
If you just moved all in pre-flop, none of this would have happened.
Let's just take a step back, take a breath. It's going to be okay.
Oh, this is the kind of hand that, I mean, Sergio Aido has been around the block. He's obviously not going to be there. But if you are an amateur, if you're a recreational player, this is the kind of hand that just, it gets seared into your brain for years, decades.
It's dirty. It's
really
so
is.
dirty.
4-3. I mean, how does Seiver have 4-3 here?
And Aido with just under pot back. Oof.
What's the play here? So this is, by the way, there's no shot clock in this event. In the high rollers this summer, there is a shot clock. No shot clock here, so players can take some time, and I don't mind it because this is a really interesting spot. What's the play? Does Seiver go for the check raise? Does he want to lead out?
No, I think that Seiver feels like there's just not going to be enough hands that Aido's going to be willing to bet for value on this particular river. So because of that, I think Seiver is going to either bet or potentially put Aido all in before Aido has a chance to act.
1 million for.
Okay, I'm sorry.
1,400,000.
Apparently, Seiver did check.
So he did. Okay, so Seiver, we didn't know that. Obviously, our graphics were not up to date there. So Seiver did check. Aido going for value.
Yeah, well, if Seiver checks it over, then I just think that for Aido, he might be able to get away from this, just because I would assume Seiver is going to put him all in.
Look how much he has left, though. If Seiver does check raise all in, which I assume he's going to do, we're talking about a pot that's going to be, I mean, Aido's going to be getting, what, 6.5 to 1?
Yeah, but is Seiver really going to check raise without it here, though? That's the problem. I just think that Seiver is almost less likely to have it if he moved in front of Aido on the river. But now if he check raises, seeing what Aido has committed and what he has back,
hey, Maria, GTO,
so
he has to be balanced, right? He has to have some bluffs in his range. I'm kidding. Sort of.
I mean, it's just a rough spot all around.
By the way, Seiver does not have the nuts. He is very far from the nuts.
No,
he's losing
he
the
does not have the
6-3.
nuts.
He's losing the 6-8.
Yeah, and I think that there is some contemplation on Seiver's part about that as well. He's just, I mean, the way he's so intently staring Aido down actually now. Okay, he does go all in. Yeah.
There's the all in from Seiver. I'll tell you, Seiver's probably a sigh of relief when he doesn't get snap called. Now he knows he's good.
Yeah, and you see Aido just half disgusted, half maybe a little bit smiling, because maybe he's thinking, oh, like I knew I should bet this river, but maybe I could have not bet the river, and now look at me.
This is by far our longest hand of the day, longest hand of the tournament so far. The World Series, that is. Sergio in just a very awful spot. I do not envy him right now. He is getting almost 7 to 1, 950,000. The pot is 6.3 million. But to your point, is Seiver ever bluffing here? Is he ever check raising without at minimum a 3?
No, because as you mentioned, there's plenty of hands that Aido could have that had him beat there, right? Like, because of that fact alone, this is just a very tough spot for Seiver to be bluffing.
Chapter 7 of how to win a tournament, it's beat aces with 4-3 offsuit. Aido in the tank. Aido on the right side of your screen, wearing the blue watch, trying to decide, does Seiver ever bluffing here?
Yeah, this is just really a spot where it's like, pot odds be damned, this person should have it here. But again, you know, just because someone should have it doesn't necessarily mean that they do.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, you come from a limit hold'em background. In fact, the first time I met you, I was commentating on you playing limit hold'em. You played high stakes limit hold'em out of LA. Limit hold'em players don't like to fold when they're getting a good price. I know that.
Yeah, but certainly in a cash game, I would snap call this all day. But in a tournament with ICM on the line, it just feels gross.
No doubt about that. Aido in a very, very tough spot. 6.3 million in the pot, 950,000, all of his chips, his tournament life to call. Aido still looking for his first bracelet. He has 31 cashes here at the World Series of Poker.
Yeah, Aido definitely has quite an impressive resume. You know, he's been here before in the sense of he's played at big final tables for a lot of money, and he's had to make tough decisions.
For what it's worth, I am not an advocate for players taking a long time. This is a case where I love it. I have no problem with it. This is for somebody's tournament life, and if we can see the cards, we know exactly why he is tanking. There's no pointless wasting of anybody's time. To me, this is part of poker.
Streaming on PokerGo, right?
Yes, Steve. It is.
It definitely is, Steve.
Proudly on PokerGo, I should say.
Exclusively on PokerGo, I might add.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, you know, somebody just needs to come and like pry the hand out of Aido, because you don't want to fold. You think you probably should, but somebody else needs to muck those cards. You don't want to push them forward. You can't bring your hand to make the motion.
Yeah. I mean, Aido's hand is really under-repped, but, you know, as we mentioned, 6-8's out there, 6-3 is out there. Pocket aces are actually, I want to say, what, like the fourth nut, basically?
Yeah, I mean, especially because you expect Seiver to be opening really wide from the small blind. So he can certainly have a lot of those hands that contain a 3, you know, the 8-6s, the 6-3s. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility given the dynamic right now.
What do you, okay, I'll put you on the spot. Is he folding or calling?
I think he's going to find the fold.
Okay. I'll say he calls, but for a glass of wine.
Sure.
Done. Win-win. We can't lose
That's
here.
exactly what I was going to say.
Maria Ho, David Tuchman here for the World Series of Poker.
Sorry, we're gonna be the 20s.
Sergio apologizing.
You could tell him about
Nobody
the
at the table
thing you were
realizes
telling
what he
me about
has.
last night.
What was Steve saying? Was Steve like potentially giving him
But we
a
should probably be
little
quiet.
shit maybe? Or was it more just like a
I
throwaway
think a little bit. I mean, I
comment?
think that was, I think the mention that we were on PokerGo was like, hey, this is going to be
That
great
all
TV.
died
What are
when
you
Hooney
doing?
busted.
And in fairness, the players at the table don't know that he has pocket aces. They don't know what the decision he has.
Maybe for our next bet, we need to set a line for when he is going to either fold or call
Right.
for another glass of wine.
That'll be the second bottle.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Nice, okay. Taste very long.
Yeah, the player's being respectful at a final table. Tough
Never
decision
had a
for his
3.
tournament life.
See a little interaction between
Clock
Seiver
on
and
feature.
Sergio. Okay, clock has been called.
Yeah, Sergio was 34 at the start of this hand. He's now 36.
Yeah, and if he makes the wrong decision, he'll be 40.
That's how quick it happens. I mean,
Life comes at you fast.
weren't we all 28 yesterday?
5-cent countdown. If I say the word 0 and there's been no action in your hand, we'll be declared dead.
There you go. Somebody did finally call a
I
clock.
don't know if he had enough time to think about it before they called the clock. Okay.
Steve having fun with it, but at the same time, I think at this point, you've had enough time.
5, 4, 3, 2.
And he does eventually find the fold. I owe you a glass of wine. Great job by Sergio Aido. That is a
concede
extremely difficult
5 minutes
spot.
already.